Forecast first, sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Wow, it is really cooling down out there tonight. Look at the temperature in Champaign now, 48 degrees. Also 48 in Jacksonville right now. And then a slew of 50s from Watsika, Danville, Paris, Pontiac. Skies are clear and those temperatures are falling across the area. And for the kids at the bus stop in the morning, we're talking about the lower 40s to begin the day with plenty of sunshine. And then we're going to make it all the way to near 70 for a high. Things looking pretty good. But some rain is moving at the end of the week. We are going to see a big cool down for the weekend. We'll show you that coming up. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now from WCIA 3 News.
Scammers have been doing this for a while, and they know the things that people fall for.
We've told you a lot about scams. Now some are targeting college students. What police are doing to stop it.
Plus, 4 cities, 4 shootings, 1 person dead. What we know so far.
It was a really bad situation to be.
A main road in one village is almost cut in half by railroad tracks. Now their plans of fixing it are being stalled.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 10.
Some of these scams look pretty good.
More U of I students have been falling for phone and email scams, losing thousands of dollars. The university is trying to do all it can to prevent people from giving away their money. Good evening. I'm Paul Cicchini.
And I'm Jessica Coons. We've reported on many scams targeting seniors, but as it turns out, college students are also vulnerable, and dozens of them are falling prey. Some have been victims of Social Security scams, and most recently, a scam involving a pet-sitting job offer. WCIA 3's Jennifer Jensen is here with us now. So Jennifer, who are the main victims of this at the U of I?
Jessica, U of I police say out of the cases reported to them, international students are the majority of those who end up giving away money.
We take it personally anytime one of our students are victimized by anything, but also scams, especially if they're out large sums of money.
More and more students at U of I are giving away thousands of their dollars. Common scams range from phone calls to emails. In total, last year, 10 people fell victim at U of I, sending varying amounts through money-sharing apps or Bitcoin virtual money. To date this year, there have been 15 people.
College students and international students in particular are a particularly vulnerable population when it comes to scams. With international students, they don't necessarily speak English as a native language, so they don't pick up on the weird quirks when they get an email.
In the most recent case, an email was sent to students offering a pet-sitting job. The scammer sent a check for $2,450 and in exchange told the student to send $2,000, making it seem like they would make a profit. When the check bounced, the victim lost their money. This is one of the lesser amounts of money U of I police have seen students give away.
We've seen people who they fall for scams and they end up losing all their tuition money, for example. So that's really hard for us to see.
Scam warning education has become a regular safety message included in freshman orientation and with the International Student Scholar Service Office. They also send warning alert emails to students.
At some point in the last couple months, I've probably gotten an email from the university where, just what I can remember, it's just a general, there's phishing type scams targeting students. They just kind of give a general idea of like what kind of scams are out there and just kind of what to look for.
UI police say there are some common warning signs that something is likely a scam. That includes threats of arrest or deportation, payment in the form of gift cards, or sending money to a third party. Plus, if you get a call claiming to be from the IRS, no legitimate government office will ever demand payment over the phone. With 50,000 students on campus, police say it can be difficult to educate everybody on the warning signs because so many people filter through the university year after year. They say the number of scam reports on campus remains steady throughout the year. Back to you.
And that advice is really good for people across the board. All right, Jennifer, thank you. Some U of I students who are supposed to get a refund from Suburban Express are concerned an email is trying to scam them. The bus company was sued for harassment last year. They originally had until yesterday to refund customers, but the Attorney General pushed that date back until April. A customer called us this morning saying she got an email saying to click on a link before this upcoming Wednesday to get her refund. We showed that email to tech experts who suggested not clicking.
If it looks fishy, it probably is. Look at the sender's email address. If it's something odd, there's a good clue. Look at the content. Almost all the spams are wanting you to do something, wanting you to click on something so you can either get a payback or avoid something bad.
We tried to call Suburban Express to ask about that email, but the line was disconnected. If you do have any questions about those refunds, the Attorney General's office says to email them directly rather than clicking on something you don't trust. Police in central Illinois are investigating shootings in 4 cities.
One of them was deadly. Let's start right there. It happened on Colorado Avenue in Urbana. 21-year-old Tremel Hooser of Danville died after he was shot at an apartment complex. The other victim is another young man. Police would not release his name or age. They say they aren't getting much information from people in the area. 2 people were shot in Champaign Saturday night. It happened near Parkland Court and Bradley Avenue. Police say a 25-year-old man was taken to the hospital. They later learned a 32-year-old man also went to the hospital. Officers believe they may have been shot after a fight. In Danville, 3 women are recovering after someone drove by and shot them yesterday on Main Street near the Elks Lodge. Police say 2 of the women drove themselves to the hospital. The other was treated at the scene. Police haven't made any arrests. In Decatur, a woman was shot in the leg on West Wood Street. Police say the 37-year-old would not cooperate with them. She left the hospital before she could be treated and told police while she knows who did it, she wouldn't give them a name. And if you have any information about any of these shootings we just told you about, reach out to your area Crime Stoppers.
Family, friends, and co-workers said goodbye to former Sangamon County Sheriff Wes Barr. He died last Tuesday at the age of 56. Barr joined the Sangamon County Sheriff's Office as a deputy in 1991. He was sheriff from 2014 to 2018. His funeral was at Calvary Church in Springfield this morning. He was buried at Camp Butler National Cemetery. We have an update from 5. Decatur will be keeping its utility tax where it is, but that's not what everyone wanted. The tax will remain at 4.25% for natural gas and electricity for residential customers. One council member suggested cutting it to 4%, saying there's a surplus of money expected in next year's projected budget. But council said no, saying they don't have that budget yet. During public comment, one person countered that the city could have had extra money if they had voted in allowing recreational marijuana sales last week.
I would like to remind the city council that you just voted to turn down a bunch of potential income for this city, and now you're talking about continuing a tax and not lowering it, and we're not lowering it. I wonder how that's going to go over with the public.
Well, there are projected revenues, and we have no idea what that really means. So what council did last week is we took a kind of a wait-and-see approach. We're going to see what happens in other communities, if there is harm, if there is cost, and what kind of revenues come in.
The utility tax brings in more than $3 million a year for the city. We'll have much more on this later tonight on our website, WCIA.com.
New at 10, talks of a possible wind farm have been circulating around Piatt County tonight. The U of I Extension held a meeting to answer questions about wind energy. A company called Apex Energy approached a few landowners in the northern part of the county earlier this year. No major movement's been made to create it. Right now, it's a concept. About a dozen people showed up tonight to ask general questions. The U of I Extension mainly addressed the concerns about excessive noise and how it would affect property values. The director says while values may go down at first, that could change.
Statistics show that it does initially, but in the long term, the prices actually go back up because when you set a wind turbine on a piece of farm ground, it's not going to get to be a subdivision. It's going to be a piece of farm ground from now on.
The county doesn't have a set date to discuss this further. If the company chooses to move forward with the plan, the county would need to vote on a zoning ordinance to allow it.
It's a major attraction in Illinois, but it's falling apart, and it could end up costing you.
Plus, it's a sound we dread to hear when we're driving. Why it could be deadly for some in one town.
And later, the mountain is only getting steeper for the Illini with their next 2 games. What they need to fix after their recent loss before taking on their toughest opponents yet.